Don't plan ahead. And we as black folk, ain't nobody in here but us, fail to plan ahead. Other folk have planned this stuff years in advance. Y.T. Walker once said that black folk think monthly, white folk think generationally. Don't you think the mess we in, this ain't planned? Listen, they can tell how many prisons they gonna build by how many students flunked that first test in LEAP. Failed to plan ahead. And so you have to have a vision. It's foolish to hold on to the present and not look to the future. You see, all of the advancements that man made, somebody caught the vision. For example, some of y'all remember how we used to travel. If you don't care to admit how old you are. You traveled by foot, buggy, come on, wagon, or horseback. But Henry Ford had the vision of putting America on wheels. And now it's rare to see a horse on the street. I remember in Beaumont, I was driving one night to church, and there was a black man on a black horse dressed in black, and I almost didn't see him. On the north side of town. Or, for example, when man had to read by candlelight or lamplight, Thomas Edison had the vision of the incandescent lamp we call the light bulb. That changed the whole sweep of civilization. You can work and play when you want to because you got lights. And with some of us, the lights never go out. When children had polio, Jonas Salk had the vision of a cure for polio. And now polio is virtually gone from the human race. Or even in fields of human rights, somebody had a vision. Medgar Evers, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X had a vision that America could be better than what she is, that America is time to put into practice what you have on paper. That was a vision. Even Steve Biko and Nelson Mandela in South Africa had the vision that apartheid, which is a Dutch word for segregation, had to come to an end in South Africa. So no matter how high the mountains get and how deep the valleys, remember this, what someone wrote, that hope is hearing the melody of the future, and faith is our dance to the music of the future. Augustine said, faith is to believe what you do not see, and the reward of this faith is to see what you believe. Hebrews tells us without faith, it is impossible to please him, that God is the reward of those who diligently seek him. But second, ships, sorry about that, sink not only because they don't see ahead, but sometimes they move too fast. Without the vision, the people perish. And you can move too fast, you'll miss what the vision is. Research says this about the Titanic. Somehow Mr. Ismay told the captain, let's set a record to get to New York a day early. So he put the ship on a higher speed, and because of going so fast, when the iceberg appeared, it could not stop. How often do people end in disaster because they jump too fast? There are two things you got to be sure you know what you're jumping in. Is romance and finance. Can I get a witness? You move too fast. You don't read the fine print. You don't check the brother out. You don't check the sister out. And romance and finance, if you ain't careful, will mess you up. What did Solomon say? The race does not go to the swift, but those who run with patience. patience. Even in church, when you hear stuff, check out the source. Check out, is it true? Is it right? I remember when my pastor in Brooklyn died, they had him dead 5 times before he died. And every church has these 2 members. Daisy Daisy and Isaiah I heard. But Daisy Daisy doesn't tithe, doesn't come to church, doesn't come to prayer meeting, but they say. Isaiah I heard doesn't show up either, pastor, for prayer meeting, Sunday school, nothing. You see, you can live your life in one of 2 ways. You can live your life as a tourist or as an explorer. Let me tell you what I mean. Now, y'all know I've been to Washington several times. I've been as a tourist. I've been to the White House as a tourist where they rush you through. That's a tourist. But then I've been as the president's guest. So I could take time to explore the entrances of the places the slaves built. I could take time to sit on Dolly Madison's sofa and James Monroe's chair and look at John Adams' coffee pot. I could explore. Many of us live our lives as tourists. And you rush too fast. And when you rush too fast, you miss opportunities, you mess up your priorities. And anything worth having is worth waiting for. Good things come to those who wait. The building of a superhighway causes traffic to move faster. The preparation of a good meal. You don't want Sister Girl to rush through them biscuits. Or have cooked them greens and them black-eyed peas because the time went to y'all don't hear me, little union. And even building a good marriage, sister and brother, you can't just rush. See, the problem with many marriages is you invite Jesus to the wedding, but you don't invite him to the marriage. And some folk are fascinated with being married. And forget that cake's going to get stale, them flowers going to fade. That dress going to get yellow. That mess is going to blow up in your face because you rushed. And young folk, quit rushing to get grown. You enjoy this. This is your time to prepare for adulthood. When you go to school, shut up, open that book, learn, take your time. If you got a subject you can't handle, let me give you a bit of advice. Master the material in segments, brick by brick, subject by subject. You can't pass the test during the test. And third, ships sink. They move too fast. They don't see ahead. But they often don't have what's called emergency drills as far as getting ready for disaster. Where the people perish where there is no vision. If you look at the Titanic, for some strange reason, they don't know who did it. The drill for preparation for disaster was canceled. In other words, they didn't prepare what to do because they felt that God couldn't sink the ship and God proved them dead wrong. He took ice and brought them down. And they did not drill, so consequently, lifeboats went down half empty, and folk were left to die, to drown. You have to prepare for trouble. You have to prepare for drill. That's why it's good to come to the teaching events. That's drill for an emergency. Ain't no need to word in the Lord talking about Lord have mercy when he's told you what to do in the book. You see, young folks, again, you have to understand that life is a dressing room for adulthood. Don't worry about getting grown too fast. And one victory leads to another victory. One crisis strengthens you for the next crisis. Like that song that says, yield not to temptation. Each victory will help you some other to win. You can't get ready for the test during the test. You can't buy insurance when you're in a jam. And sometimes we get fearful of challenges. But challenges are given to strengthen your faith. Paul says in the Corinthian letters, one of them, that trouble is designed to strengthen you so you can strengthen somebody else. You can tell folk how to cope when this happens. You can tell folk how to cope when that happens. And then, fourth, ships sink because people don't look ahead. They move too fast. They didn't prepare a drill for the crisis. But the third reason is, or the fourth reason rather, is that they don't heed the warnings. Research shows this about the Titanic, as I heard to a close. They were sent warnings. But for some reason, the person at the telegraph allowed other stuff that wasn't important to interfere with the warnings. And they kept telling the Titanic, icebergs, iceberg. And the radio man radioed back, shut up. And so, the rest is history. One of the things about people is they don't hear warnings. I remember as a little boy watching on the news that this bridge collapsed and this patrolman was trying to stop the cars from passing so fast. He was doing this and they kept on passing and they plunged into the river and lost their lives. That's the task of the church, is to tell people the bridge is out, but there's another way. People don't often hear warnings. You think about your body. It gives you warning signals. If your head swims like a fish and you ain't touched Jack Daniels or Jim Beam, that means your blood pressure might be high. If you got a strange lump or mole, you need to go see the doctor. It might be cancer. If you got shortness of breath, it could be your heart. Your body speaks before the fat hits the fire. And even in business, if you don't pay your bills, your creditors are going to write and write and write and call and call. And if you don't answer, they're going to foreclose. Even sometimes the government does not ignore warning signs. When folk get restless and unhappy, and they're not heard, they'll take it to the streets. So hurry on. Solomon says, well, to crave wisdom, shout it in the streets. So the reason then, as I heard to a close, that ships sink. They don't hear the warnings. They don't see ahead. They move too fast. And they don't prepare for disaster. So yes, as I close, history. Yes, it's littered